Hey, this is Mr. Poggio, and I thought for Module 3, I would include back to school night information as well. So parents, this is a breakdown of what's going on for the week, and I'll also bring in everything that you need to know Mr. Poggio's class. So this is my Schoology page. If you go to Schoology, the main page should look like this. I will always have a breakdown of what's going on day by day, in addition to assignments that will be graded in areas. So in other words, what will affect your grade. Monday, I'll go through a quick breakdown this week. Monday, we had class, of course, and we had slides about observation, and you had a Belize Ed puzzle. I have a scuba dive video from my scuba dives in Belize where students were doing an Ed puzzle for that video on YouTube. Tuesday and Thursday kind of link together. That has to do with our discussion posts. Discussion posts on Tuesday, they're required for attendance, in addition to a grade in the discussion portion of the grade, and I'll get to the syllabus shortly. But on Tuesday, students need to post their very first or initial post by 2 p.m. That's how they get credit for attendance. And then on Thursday, students make 2 comments to the initial post from other students in the discussion post. And again, by 2 p.m., minimum 50 words on those comments. And the whole idea of the discussion, rather than a Google form for a check-in, is allowing students that opportunity to collaborate and communicate on topics that are focused on our learning objective for the week. So Wednesday, we'll be doing our nature habitat hike and jog. Again, that could be virtual or in person. There is more directions in our Module 3 details on that assignment. That's our performance task. We'll always have one performance task per week, or kind of like a bigger assignment. And Friday, that's when it's due. But good news, I'm going to push that to Sunday, and I'll talk to you about that Wednesday. So when we have class Wednesday, I'll talk to you. And on Friday, I'd also like to figure out your San Diego Zoo webcam species and how we're going to move forward next week with our scientific inquiry. Lastly, there's a reflection. I didn't include that, but you'll see that in the description and the module information. So if you go down in our Schoology page and you go down to the bottom, you'll see I organize everything by week. Module 1, Module 2 means week 1, week 2. So if you click on Module 3, this is everything you need to know for the week. And as that loads up, I already preloaded some of the tabs above to make things a little bit easier. But I definitely wanted you to see firsthand what it looks like for your son or daughter that is in my class. The very first assignment for the week is not an assignment. That's just instructions with links. And the second one, slides. That's just the slides that I'll be going over in class. So I already have those preloaded, and I'll show those shortly. But I definitely want to jump to my syllabus first. And this was in Module 1, and I highlighted the most important part for parents. Late assignments, just so you know, I take 20% off for any late assignment. That's any late assignment. However, I take late assignments. So if students didn't get to it on time, and by the way, the first 4 weeks of school, don't worry, I'm not doing any 20% deduction the first 4 weeks. I know the first 4 weeks is getting used to junior high, getting used to Schoology. So I'll let everybody know, but somewhere around week 5, I'm going to say, okay, we're used to Schoology, we're used to the system now, we're used to Mr. Poggio, so now let's get things in on time. So don't worry, I understand the beginning, and I'm totally flexible with that. But in general, for grading, you'll have 4 portions or 4 categories in your grading: assignments, projects, assessments, and discussions. And discussions are directly in Schoology, which what I'd mentioned for Tuesday and Thursday, asynchronous days. But discussions is 20% of students' grades. Assessments 20% as well. Projects are 30%, like the hike that is this week's performance task and project. And assignments are 30%. So they're pretty equivalent in their breakdown. Now, again, if you look at Schoology, the very first link, I will always break down everything for the week in one document. And I call that Module 3 instructions, or module instructions with links. And it looks just like this. And again, students have access to this. So again, I'll have a learning objective for this week, Module 3. Students by the end of Module 3 will have understood what and how to make observations. You will use your understanding of observations to make quantitative and qualitative observations of famous artworks in our weekly discussion. Then you will make your own observation on a nature hike, whether that's real or virtual, of course, taking into consideration social distancing and this COVID world that we're living in. And then you're going to submit your work in Schoology, I think it's pronounced actually Schoology, for your performance task this week. Lastly, you will pick your species to observe in our San Diego Zoo webcam project and start thinking about a comparative question for next week's observation and scientific inquiry. So again, I got a little Bitmoji classroom with some details and quotes. I'll be making that every week. There's the exact same breakdown for Schoology with day by day. Again, I probably overlink, but I have the link for this module, the link to itself, and the PowerPoint or the Google Slides you'll see. I have all the information for the discussion here, even though it's already in Schoology and that's where the discussion is completed. I have all your information for your assignments and assessments. This week, remember, you have an ed puzzle where you're watching Mr. Poggio's scuba dive in Belize. I go in the Great Blue Hole. It's kind of an archaeological scuba dive. And I have questions about observations along the way. I think it pauses every 3 or 4 minutes. There's more detail with Mr. Padilla. Mr. Padilla is a co-teacher with myself. We teach at different schools, but we share assignments and we really focus on like this co-teaching model. So this week, the nature hike and that jog, you'll see all the information in that link right there and also how to turn it in via Schoology. You'll turn that in Schoology. Here's some information on the Wildlife Zoo Animal Webcam, and there's a link to your reflection and information on your rubric for grading for your reflection, and it's always focused on those 5 C's, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, that character and component piece. So those 5 C's are really what we're focusing on when it comes to our objective for the week. And how did we work within those 5 C's? Where were you collaborative? Where were you creative? Those are the ideas and reflective thoughts that I really want my students to have. And at the very end, of course, as you saw at the top of Schoology, this is the assignments that are graded in areas for the week. So if you parents, if you'd like to access the slides for the week, I'm not going to go over all of them, but again, you'll see pretty much everything we discussed. It gets a little bit repetitive, but I'm really big on linking things. So students, if they're ever lost, they can find links in the module instructions or here on the PowerPoint. But this is just a little bit about what we do in class every week, and I will always have um, these Google Slides linked in Schoology, so students could go see them later as well. But this is probably a big one. Module 1 thus far, you've had to email me. That was Module 1 and 2 thus far, excuse me. But you had to email me. That was part of week 1 and discussion about your summer story. Module 2, you had a discussion about favorite animal. You completed a CER document with claims, evidence, and reasoning for why you have a favorite animal. And we went through the fun challenge of figuring out how to turn that in Schoology. I know I had a lot of emails about instructions how to do that. Your Flipgrid presentation, again, Module 2 had description and information about how to log into Flipgrid and submit your presentation video. And every week, except for Module 1, because it was a shortened week, but every week we will have a reflection. So reflection Module 2, and that's in reference to reflective thought on the 5 C's, which is one of our district drivers when it comes to our instruction. And it will always be the same every single week. I also want to encourage you to go to YouTube, and if you click in Mr. Poggio Ball Junior High, here's the title in case you want to check it out, but that's Mr. Poggio's introduction video, Ball Junior High, and CVA, Cambridge Virtual Academy. I teach an online class at CVA through our district also. Let me start from the beginning, but you should see a quick introduction with me at the beach. I'll link that as well for back to school night, but that's pretty much all you need to know for Module 3. Please go through the detailed links of instruction that are already in Schoology. Blackhawks, I promise it'll make it much easier. But if you have any other questions about what's going on for the week, what's going on in Mr. Poggio's class, please feel free to email me. If you're not sure how to get a hold of my email, you can find that at the Ball Junior High website. But every school and every teacher at Ball Junior High has a similar email where you'll start with their last name. So my last name is Poggio, Poggio, then underscore R. R's for the first initial of my first name, which is Randy. So Poggio underscore R at AUHSD.us. And AUHSD stands for Anaheim Unified High School District. I hope you enjoy back to school night. Students, I hope I broke down Module 3 for you. But if you have any questions, please email me. And in this digital world, please understand and please be flexible with the challenges that we're all facing. I appreciate your time as students. And I hope that you understand as a teacher, I'm excited to meet and communicate, whether it's virtually or whether in the future that's in person with all my students. And I want to thank you ahead of time for all your support and the patience that you'll have with what we're going through here in distance learning, because I know it's not easy. So thanks again and have a wonderful third week of school, students. Enjoy that third week, and parents, enjoy back to school night. Peace. See ya.